This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and it is great to be joined by Max McCracken once again in person here in Birmingham. Max, it's the first time that I've seen you potentially close to a year now. I think you've been back in January time.
It's a while back, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a while back.
How's life been for you?
Yeah, good. Nothing's really changed, just gym and back and home, and that's it. That's about it really.
I know it's been kind of difficult it would have been difficult to begin with, rather, to try and get everybody back in the gym because of the restrictions and that. Now everybody is back. How has it been kind of getting everyone to settle back in and what you've been able to work on?
Yeah, it's just back into normal routine really. Just training, going around sparring. We've got sparring partners coming in now. We've been around the country, like this week we was up in Sheffield, the Ingle gym, with Kid Galahad. Gamal was sparring up there, so nothing's really changed,
We know in Carl's case he's just having a bit of a rest still because he hasn't got anything to work towards. So with his brother Gamal, he's got a date on the other hand with YAFAI-RIGOLDI. Just talk to me about that one, Max. We know it's been going on for a while. How excited are you for Gamal to actually have a fight date to work towards?
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for Gamal. We've known about the fight for a while, so we just got the date yesterday. He's in good shape, Gamal. He's had good sparring. We've done a good camp for this fight. And, he's got a decent opponent. He's a good champion, RIGOLDI, pressure fighter. He'll be there for the 12 rounds, it's just... But he makes mistakes that we'll capitalise on. But it's a good fight for Gamal and a big opportunity. What
should we expect to see from Gamal? I'm sure that he, as much as anybody, would love to see him kind of make that statement victory now. On the back of that defeat to Gavin McDonald, he's had a few fights since and he was victorious, but this is a chance for him to kind of really put his name back out there and in amongst the mix just below that world level with this European title on the line.
Yeah, it's good timing for him now where he is in his career. This is the sort of kind of fights he needs. So when he's just got to, do a good job in this fight. He's done everything he needs to do, prepare-wise, so... He's just got to, this is his opportunity to stand out now and show people how good he is.
You mentioned RIGOLDI is a pressure fighter, so how are you guys kind of anticipating trying to work around that?
Well, we just made the adjustments. We've got game plans, for this fight. We've been working on for a long time, so, you'll see on the night.
Is there a pressure on Gamal this time round, knowing what's at stake, and because of COVID again, and what we've seen with shows is only usually 5 or 6 fights on each card at the minute because of restrictions? Is there a pressure on Gamal to make sure he is successful to be able to get back out to put his name out there?
Yeah, well, there's pressures with every fight in there, but especially this one. He's away from home as well, isn't he? So, he's got to take this chance. He's got to take these opportunities, because how many more times they're going to come along, Once he wins the European title, he's up there. The big fights will come.
Fights taking place in Italy, Max. Do you have any idea about kind of the travel restrictions or any quarantine restrictions that you guys might have to deal with?
I'm not sure. Maybe we'll go a week before. I don't know, but you'll be testing over there, won't they? And maybe I'm not sure there's a quarantine when you come back.
Just to move away from Gamal, get your thoughts on your newest member of the gym, Solomon Dacres, a former GB amateur star. Talk to me about where that one came from, Max, and how long you guys have been working together.
Oh yeah, we've been about 6 weeks now with Sol. He messaged me a while ago, come and done a couple of sessions, and we gelled well. And I went down with him for the sparring with Dubois and Joyce. So he's been working with both of them. And he's settling in well. He's ambitious kid. He's going to, looking to do big things.
We know he signed with Sam Jones and S-Jam Boxing, and he's kind of mulling over offers from promoters at the minute. What's the plan for him in your eyes, though? What would you like to see him do going into 2021?
Well, he's got a couple of offers on the table now from Frank Warren, Eddie Earn. He's going to just make a choice now, probably next week after, and then get a date in January. Just work to that date.
I asked Sol this earlier. We've seen promoters come out saying because of the restrictions, because of boxing's return, and what's kind of able to be offered financially, the one to try and make the most of that and want to make more evenly matched fights. With that in mind, do you feel that even though it's only going to be his debut, Sol may have to fight somebody you wouldn't have thought he would have done maybe until 4 or 5 fights into his career?
I don't know about his debut. You're going to start off, with the typical your first fights with these journeymen and that. But I suppose there'll be domestic clashes offered. But it's up to us to see if they're right for Sol at the right time.
What do you see in Sol when you watch him? What's his potential like in the professional ranks, in your opinion?
Well, he's very ambitious. You know, he wants to win a world title. You know, he wants every day in the gym. He wants to improve. You know, he's working every day to improve, make himself better. You know, I think he lives a good life. He's got a good attitude. So, like, you know, it depends. You know, how much he wants it. You know, how far he'll get. But you know, he's got decent boxing ability, good jab. He's got fast hands for a heavyweight. Seems to have a very good engine. I've been watching him in sparring, and you know, in the rounds in the gym, and he seems to have a really good engine.
We know that he's done some sparring with Joyce and Daniel Dubois, as you mentioned earlier on. Just talk to me about both of those sparring sessions with either guy. Start off with Joyce. What was that sparring like?
Yeah, it's quality sparring. You know, Joe's starts a little bit slow, but once he gets into a rhythm, gets into a flow, he's a handful, and he does not stop punching.
Then on the other hand, Daniel Dubois, again, just your recollection of the sparring.
Yeah, he's got a good jab, good solid jab. Good right hand, and left up to the body as well. But you know, he's a solid young kid, isn't he? A big hitter. But you know, if you ask me to pick up who's going to win that fight, you know, it's a tough one. It's like they're saying early Dubois, late Joyce. But I've got a feeling for Joyce. If he gets over those early rounds, evades those big shots, I think once he starts setting that pace, can Dubois go with him? I don't think Dubois has been in a fight like that before.
Who do you see there being more pressure on that fight on Saturday night, Daniel Dubois or Joyce?
I think there's pressure on both of them, big pressure. You know, it's a massive fight, it's a great fight, isn't it? I mean, Joey's like 35, so, you know, if he loses, he's got to rebuild. You know, has he got the time? Whereas Daniel, who can come back, he's young, 22 years of age. But there's pressure on both of them. It's a massive fight, isn't it? So, you know, but I think they both handled pressure well. You know, they were good fighters, good amateur fighters. GB, you know, used to big tournaments and that, so more so Joe. But I think, you know, it's who wants it the most on the night as well.
Moving away from your guys, Max, just get your thoughts on a couple of things in the boxing world. We are a matter of about 3 weeks away, I believe, or 2 weeks rather, from JOSHUA-PULEV. Rob, your brother, training Anthony Joshua up in Sheffield. Just talk to me about kind of how you've seen their preparations going. Yeah,
I think he's flying, Joshua, and he's made massive improvements. He's got momentum, you know. His confidence is, you know, through the roof. But Pulev's a good fighter. He's only lost to, you know, the elite fighters, isn't he? So it's, you know, I think Josh softens him up the first 4 or 5 rounds. I think he can get on top in the second half of the fight.
We saw Josh produce a very good boxing display against Andi Ruiz in their rematch in Saudi Arabia. This time around, do you think we'll see something similar? Do you think we need to see that more of a destructive Anthony Joshua to make a statement heading into that big Fury fight in 2021?
Yeah, but I think he can't be reckless, Joshua. You know, it takes one shot in the heavyweight division, but I think, yeah, he's looking to do a good, devastating job in this fight. I think he's looking, you know, for a spectacular stoppage or knockout.
And then we've also got another big fight the week after that in Canelo versus CANELO-SMITH. A huge fight for us Brits to see, Callum heading over there, but still a big fight all over the world. Your thoughts on it though, Max?
Yeah, I think it's a great fight for Callum, and, you know, it's a fight he deserves, really. And he's in his prime, Callum. I think of all his recent opponents, I think I'll give Callum a chance, you know, a big chance. I'll give him a chance in this fight. He's in his prime, you know, he's 30, he's a world champion. An enormous super middleweight, can bang, can box. You know, I think if he has a right game plan, I fancy him to, you know, pull off the upset.
Max McCracken, it has been a pleasure to speak to you for the first time in what feels like a very, very long time. It's good to see you keeping well, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you for having me down here today, and thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
All right, cheers, Andy.